Hey guys, today we're photo editing. We're taking the vacation photos from the vacation we just took. I just did a video on organizing all the vacation photos, and now we're going to take a few that we took on our quote-unquote fancy camera and the raw images, and we're going to edit them to make them look a little better for presentation for video or for printing. The final project is going to be a vacation memory video and a book and a photo book of the vacation. So let's get started. So first one is here's a few that I took from New York. These are all raw images, and you can tell because it says raw up here. If you're unsure as to what raw is pretty much a photo with lots more information to be able to make these edits. And if you just take it in JPEG, like the phone pictures, it doesn't have as much information to be able to do the things that a raw image can do. I know some phones now have the ability to do raw. I haven't experimented much with the raw on the phones, but that's essentially the idea, that they should be able to do more. So here I have this one, and the reason I took these is whenever I get a high vantage point, I love tilt shift effects. And tilt shift is when you make the photos look like miniatures. And these are always really good when you take them from somewhere up high. Here are a few others. And this one I consider too because I liked that it had the cab. But I think I'm going to go with this first one because of the way the sun is hitting the street. It kind of, as I was up there, it kind of blew my mind a little bit as to like, hey, the sun actually does hit the street. Sometimes it seems like the buildings are so dense that it doesn't let the sun hit the street, but I guess at certain points of the day it does, and so that's one of the reasons I liked this photo. So I use Affinity, and you can right click here, and you can click Edit with Affinity. There is another option that you can do if you click it and click Edit, and I believe, is it here? Yeah, it says Edit with Affinity, or Edit in Affinity Photo. But it sometimes does something weird where, I don't know, that I've encountered more glitches that way, so I'm going to do it this way. You right click again and then Edit with. And you can also do Command and Enter to do it as a shortcut. So I'm just going to wait for Affinity to boot up, and we'll get started with this one. I'm very eager to work on some of these too, like the Statue of Liberty. This was my first time seeing the statue. I actually didn't see how many people there were from far away when we were passing by, but yeah, I'm still glad I got some of those photos. Skyline, Brooklyn Bridge. I wish we could have seen a little more from the side to see the arches, but you know, it is what it is. Here's this one. Took it because of the helicopter, but didn't quite come out like I had liked. This would be another good tilt shift effect one. Infinity's really taking. Oh, here we go. I guess it was done and didn't tell me. All right. So, first, usually I go to the develop persona, and this helps a little bit more with the raw to kind of get it to a better starting point, I suppose, if you want to call it that. And just a few tweaks, and it really is, to me, just a little bit of preference. One thing I do look for is to try not to lose detail. So if you start darkening too much, you don't see any of the details anymore. If you brighten too much, you lose details. And so start finding those middle spots and see where you're not going to lose too much, or where you're gaining some detail that wasn't visible before. A little more black, brightness. So sometimes in like the stuff like here in these rooms here, you can kind of see some small details there, and those are the things I will sometimes try not to lose entirely. And again, it's just A little bit of preference. The clarity, I always just put it at about 5% because I don't like it getting too, the sharpness will start looking a little bit fake sometimes too. And vibrance, white balance, there's a nice trick over here for, where's my white balance tool? Here it is, and then just click on what you think is the whitest, purest, whitest spot. And yeah, that's about it. And usually if it's pretty on, then it won't change much, but if you change it somewhere else, it can change a lot. You see how it kind of turned a little more sepia, now it's a little more cooler tone. And so this, when you click on a white spot, it gives you as close to the actual white balance that it should be at. Alright, that's about it from here. So develop, and so from here there was, I actually forgot where this was. There's a haze removal tool that I like to use. Here it is. And sometimes from those high up shots it really helps clear it up. There we go. And so you'll be able to tell a little bit of the difference sometimes. This one not as much, so I'll leave it, and then see strength. That's where you start, sometimes you don't even know it has haze, but once you mess with it, you do realize the parts that did kind of have some haze. And so here's where we start. I don't want to lose too much detail. Like, for example, down here you can kind of tell that there's different little squares, but if you darken or brighten too much, they can get lost. And so that's some of what I'll look for. And then the wall over here, there's a little bit more tone, so I don't want it to lose too much, or at least also you maybe want to gain some if it's there and it's not showing. So I'll put it about there and apply. Cool. So I actually have a preset over here, if I remember correctly, that is a tilt shift. So what it does here, let's turn some of these off for a second. Mostly the depth of field blur. So this is, you can also add it by yourself through here, depth of field blur. And I'm going to lower this down to right at about the street level. Okay. And here, when you're going to mess with these parallel lines, make sure to hold shift, because then they'll move crooked so they'll slant, and sometimes it's a little bit, I guess I get OCD a little and want them to stay perfectly straight, and sometimes it's hard to get them back if you do add a tilt unintentionally. Cool, so right about there, I want mostly that street and those cars to be the ones that are a focus. I'm going to reuse it a little bit just to get this flagpole out of the way. Cool, I think that should be good. And this is a live filter, meaning you can go back and adjust it. And if you add the filter up here, depth of field blur, then it only applies it once, and yeah, you can't take it off. So that's why I like the live filters, to be able to adjust. Now the HSL filter, this was in the preset that I created, and so if we turn it on, it pretty much just adds saturation. And the purpose of adding saturation to a tilt shift effect is you're supposed to make them look like miniatures, so it helps them just give it a little more plasticky look, more vibrant, because that's how toys are, I guess. And so that's the reason we add it in. And then curves adjustment, this is just also for preference. So here in this one, let's start from scratch a little bit and see which one I like. See, I don't like it getting too dark up here in this part, because that's where the sunlight is coming through. So we'll keep it maybe about there, I guess. And see, and then once you start getting too bright, you see how bright it gets here? You start losing some of the street details. So I don't want that either. There we go. See, there was like kind of like a manhole cover there that you couldn't even tell before. So we don't want to lose some of that. Then you can kind of create a little bit more. What happened here? What did it do? Oops. I don't know what I did, but let's try that again. Okay. So here, all these on your left are more your darks. So I would kind of like a little more contrast from the shaded parts and where the sun is. So, but see, if I go too bright, it loses that manhole cover. So we might not be able to brighten it as much as I thought. So we'll leave it at that. A little less still. I'll leave it there. And so that's about looking finished for this one. So here I do want to crop a little bit because I like to stick to the original ratio, but I want to get rid of this building here. And I want to get rid of this building here. Even though that flag's kind of cool, I might have to crop it all the way out because I don't want it to be in the middle of the photo. You can't see the flagpole or anything else. So we'll stop it about there. And this flagpole's actually kind of messing things up too. Let's see how this goes. If it really bothers us, then we can get rid of it also with the inpainting brush. Let's see how this goes. And with the right bracket, you can increase the size, or left bracket, shrink the size. So again, let's get in here, see what oops, gotta make sure to actually click the assigned layer. See, and I had a feeling it might mess up the car. Let's click that. Alright, it's a little better. A little better. Okay, getting better. Now erase the whole pole. There we go. And from that far away, you won't be able to tell. But if it really bothers us again, then we can go ahead and fix it over here. Patch tool. Oops, it's not the patch tool. It's the healing brush? I actually forget which one it is. Oh yeah. So you have to click another designated spot that you kind of wanted to copy. So we'll click here, and then it kind of fills. I went too far. Let's try that again. No. Let's click over here because it's shaded, and then it kind of mixes a little bit of what's in that same spot. Seeing if we can't just make the whole shadow look the same, then you won't be able to tell the difference as much. Alright, now as I zoomed in, I did notice some noise, so we can also add a live filter for noise. And sometimes it's not a lot, but there, even just that, I feel will help it out. There we go. It's starting to look a little better. And now I think that's probably about it. Well, this is one of the ones I'm working on to adding to the video. There'll be a few more. If you'd like to follow along and see our whole process as to what this turns out to be for a full vacation video. So our channel is mostly for things you didn't learn in school. We're here to help. Each video gives you practical tips to improve your life, one small step at a time, 1% better every day. And if you're wondering how memories can help you improve, well, they help improve your personal identity with memories that help you define who you are, your emotional well-being, positive memories that bring joy and comfort, and learning and growth reflect on your past experiences. It helps you make better decisions in the future. You connect with others, share memories that strengthen your relationship. So if you had this experience with someone else, this travel experience, and share it with them, and it creates a stronger bond that you both had a joint experience. Motivation and inspiration, memories of past accomplishments, and overcoming difficulties. So what did it take for you to go on this trip? And this is an accomplishment in itself to going on this trip. And engaging with memories also keeps your mind sharp. It actively recalling your past experiences can improve memory function and help delay cognitive decline as you age. So this is one of the reasons I like doing these. I kind of have a terrible memory myself, so I like to do these videos to help me remember what that experience was like. And it's not the same just scrolling through pictures on your phone. It's create a whole cohesive, just the whole experience as to like the songs you heard on that trip, the songs that remind you of these photos, and so on and so on. So that's one of the reasons I do these. And so yeah, follow along and in our process. All right, bye.